A good king needs a good chair, a good throne, you might say. So thank you to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video and my channel by letting me have one of their C7 chairs. More details about it soon. So you may have noticed that I didn't post last week. That is because I was sick and my voice was gone, but instead I took that time to do some plotting and some scheming, and today I'm happy to introduce to you a new community showcase, or in this case a community build-off because we're doing it with Cone Dodger. It has been a long time coming, and I'm happy to report that it's finally time for another community event. For those of you unfamiliar with these, basically what happens usually is that the community, i.e. you, build cars for me. Maybe they look like this egg that you can see here, although hopefully a little bit nicer. But they're built to certain specifications, and then we generally run them in a contest, and then whoever wins, wins, and that's it. It's usually a stream to finalize things off, and I usually end up doing it for like 7 hours, so it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work, and that's kind of why I haven't had any time in the last year to do one of these. But this one's a little bit different because this time we're going to be doing a head-to-head, community versus community. I, as your fearless gladiator leader, I'm trying to come up with good ways to put this, but I'm going to be picking a champion basically, and that champion is going to go up against Cone Dodger's champion. We're going to have a battle royale to the death, or whatever. The track hasn't actually been chosen yet, but we're doing Group A cars, okay? Group A rally. So basically how this is going to go on my end is I'm going to take all of your submissions, at least those of you who are part of my community. There might be a bit of a community overlap, but those of you who are part of my community, submit to me, your fearless leader. El Presidente. Basically, I'm going to take your cars, I'm going to look through them, and I'm going to pick out the ones that I like, and then we're going to do a bit of a run. We're going to do some testing and pick the fastest, the best, the overall best of all the cars that I have, and from that pool, we'll basically select the head-to-head champion that's going to fight Cone Dodger's head-to-head champion, whoever he comes up with. It's going to be fun, and the rules are fairly straightforward, so let's build a car that's within the rules. It's not necessarily going to be good, but it's within the rules, so hopefully it gives you a bit of a guideline on how things work. Now, with all of these types of things, it's not always super clear, and sometimes we might have things mixed up, like Cone Dodger's doing his own video here. I'm doing my own video as well, so we might have a different interpretation of the rules in some cases. But at the end of the day, we will be judging these cars like against each other, so it's important that it's fair. So for that, there is a little bit of interpretation in the rules, but we're going to try to make it as clear-cut as possible. If something isn't mentioned, you can ask and we'll try to figure it out, or maybe it just doesn't matter. So the first regulation obviously is Group A inspired. Second thing, 1982 to 1992 model years. For my purposes, I'm interpreting that as not just this model year, but also your engine model year too. So you're stuck at a maximum of 1992. In this case, I'm going to pick a 1990 sedan. This looks like a Mercedes, especially the wagon variant of it. I'm going to do 4 doors because I think that's cool. We also need 4 seats, so that's important. So we have to go with a monocoque chassis, but there is no expense limit. The only thing that really brings down the expense limit, and this is something that's tricky because I've never done this in one of my videos, is having a units sold minimum, which is, well, something I'll have to show you, but we may have to adjust the car specifically for that. So like I can go carbon fiber as long as I chose monocoque, and we'll just keep going with carbon fiber stuff. We still have to hit the minimum weight, so it's going to be tricky in that case, but it doesn't really matter. Now, quality sliders are not restricted, except you might not be able to sell your car at its ridiculously high price. We'll get there soon. So the engine is also restricted, at least in some ways. Basically, we need to make sure that we are under 2,000 cc's if we're going forced induction. That means turbos. If we're going naturally aspirated, it's 3,000, so you get an extra liter if you're NA. Open engine configuration means you can do whatever you want with your engines. You can have any style. You could have a boxer. You could have a V16 if it fits. Anything that you want. But with boost, you are limited to 10 psi. So unfortunately, you cannot just make the thing have an absolute like boosted engine to the moon. Otherwise, it's going to not be fair for the naturally aspirated guys out there. So for my case, I'm going to go for a 60-degree V6. That's fairly small and not really an engine that I've made very often. We're going to go all-wheel drive as well. Let's go light aluminum block. And yeah, we'll continue to increase this pretty much until it can't be any bigger. In which case we can go full size, which is 8 liters. Okay, that's too much. So what I want to do for this engine is build a very high revving turbo engine. So we're going 1999 cc's, a very, very low stroke, but a large bore, which should hopefully mean we get some good power out of this. And again, I'm going pretty hard on the quality sliders. We should make a lot of power. The tech pool is not restricted, at least from what I can tell. Feel free to crank this up to 15. This will give you the biggest advantage you can get. I am, at this point, incentivized to make sure that your cars are good, so I'm giving you the workarounds here. I should say, by the way, that the rules I'm reading right now are subject to change. If we find that it's not working or we have a significant discrepancy, then we will change them. And then the final rules will come about 24 hours after the actual submission opens. So I personally think that turbos are the way to go, especially having 2 turbos. But 10 psi of boost is not a lot, as you can tell. That's pretty low. So that puts us all the way down here in the boost requirements, which means we're not really going to be able to make a ton of power just based on boost alone. These turbos are actually going to have to be well sized, which is not something I'm used to if you've seen my high power videos. The only other thing to consider is you have to go unleaded fuel, which means you're going to want to put in ultimate. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't put in ultimate, but that's all that we can do here. No compressed gas or methanol or nitro, all unleaded. We're making a pretty classy 243 horses. I think I can get a lot more than that out of this engine just because it has 2 turbos. It should be able to do a lot more than that. 600 at 10,000 RPM is looking a lot better, but is that, yeah, that's with 17 pounds of boost, so we got to turn that sucker down. We do lose a lot just based on that alone. 497, yikes. This engine could be tuned for more is basically what I'm thinking. But for now, we'll just leave it and go on to the other requirements. Hello, it's me again, your king, your leader, Fearless. Just wanted to say that in this contest, some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. Now, I was thinking about it the other day, and I have never actually purchased a good chair before. Enter the FlexiSpot C7 chair. In this configuration with the foam seat in gray, which is just how I like it, this is a $400 chair. I realize that sounds like a lot, but when you put it into perspective, that is not a lot for a decent chair. And the thing is, man, like, take a look at some of the gaming chairs out there and the prices that people are asking for these. Razer, the cheapest chair they have on their website is 550 Canadian dollars. Why pay for a label like that, like Razer or Corsair? It's not worth it to have those like racing seat gaming chairs. Quick facts for you. So it comes with a mesh or a foam seat. I prefer foam. I went with foam. These things are good for 300 pounds. I'm like not even close to 300 pounds, but if your wife wants to sit on you while you're sitting on the chair, you're good. So one of the cool things about ergonomic chairs is there is a ton of adjustability. As an example, the back support is adjustable, the headrest is adjustable, the seat depth is adjustable, and you can basically sleep in this thing if you want to. Thank you to FlexiSpot again for sponsoring this video. If you want to check out this chair or any of their other stuff there, they also have standing desks and things. You can do so in the description. There'll be a link there. There'll be a code that you can use to get a discount. And every purchase supports the channel, so thank you for supporting me. I appreciate you guys a lot. And whenever I have sponsors, it really helps out if you guys check them out. So yeah, thanks guys. The other drivetrain requirements are fairly straightforward. So we have a manual transmission, and you also have to go all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive or front-wheel drive, but you cannot go 4x4. Let's be real though, all-wheel drive stuff is generally going to be a better option in most cases. All-wheel drive is what I would expect to be the best of the best in this situation. Advanced is, again, very expensive, but it is very good. So hopefully this is enough. Manual, by the way, H pattern. just, I don't know, make it a certain amount of speeds, whatever you want. Obviously, you're going to want to tune the absolute heck out of your gearing setup. The track that we're going to be racing on has not been revealed yet. I don't even know what it is, so we're going to just have to assume that it'll be something rally-oriented. Keep your gearing and stuff in mind for that. Another thing in the regulations is we have to have radial race tires, but which tires you choose out of the radial races is completely up to you. As you can see, each one has its own set of advantages. These rally tires are pretty good off-road, but if you want really good on-road grip, then you might want to go drag, but then there's all this other stuff in between. And then also the maximum width is 255, which is not very big, so keep that in mind. If you have a ton of power, it might not be hitting the ground. So we have 2 requirements left to talk about, and basically, yeah, it's important that I discuss these. Obviously, seats are important. We need 4 seats. So there you go. That's 4 seats. I believe half seats also count, so half seats for less weight. Definitely going to want a race interior, FYI, and also no entertainment at all. I would suggest putting ESC on your car, even though it's not a requirement. It's something that is very helpful, I find. There is no safety requirement, so feel free to do what you want there. And then weight distribution and stuff. It's going to be tough to sort of dial in these setups, I would say. I tend to go for like a normal preset when I'm doing rally-oriented vehicles, but we still have a couple things left. So one of the things with this car, as an example, is it doesn't really fit any of these demographics, and that can be tough. Because one of the things that we need to be able to do here is sell your car. We had previously set it up so that you could only sell your car in Gazima, but in this case, we're going everything. You can sell it anywhere you want. One of the issues is that this car has 0 sales. So we made a car that fits within the rules, except the big one, which is it has not sold anything. One of the ways to potentially boost your sales is to lower the price to 0, in which case people will be more inclined to want to buy it. But again, nobody is buying this car, at least not in the off-road budget rating. It just doesn't make sense there. I switched it up to family utility budget, and we still have 0 sales, which doesn't make any sense. So one of the ways to get people to actually pick your vehicle is to give it safety. So if you give it advanced 2000 safety, somebody might actually buy the thing. So the best way to do this, by the way, is to go into here, and you can see we don't really match this demographic, but we do match this one a little bit better. 68.6%, 49%. We might actually be able to get some sales now that we have safety, although maybe switching to the wagon would be better. But yeah, basically this is the thing that makes it difficult. Oh, we got 1 sale. 1 sale. Okay, family utility budget apparently is a better option for me, so I'm going to switch to that. We got 7 sales. Can we get 1,000 if I put it to 0? We got 12. Okay, we're getting close. Maybe over here we can get a bit more. 12 sales again. You can see how this goes. Just as an FYI, my car is way too light. It's only 800 and something kilos, so we have to actually gain 400 kilos in order to meet the minimum. Basically, that also gives me a chance to get sales up, so I'm working on it. Almost 700. Oh my goodness. I'm in the utility sport luxury category now because it seems to be working best. My point here is it takes some time, and you really got to dial your car in, because I finally made the weight limit, but now I'm 53 kilos too heavy. And then I'm darn close to getting the sales reach that we need, but I'm having to give the cars away in order to get it to happen. So yeah, it's all about balance. It's all about that sort of trickery. But at the end of the day, you're trying to make a rally car that also sells, and it's hard to do in these sort of very picky regions that are going on here. I'm trying my best. Well, going to a handmade interior made it even better. So just stuff like that. Like, you just keep iterating and finding new ways to do it. And obviously the brakes are probably my main issue, but I can't get them big enough because this thing just won't let me do that. This is the biggest that they can get, and otherwise we have to increase the wheel size, and then everybody gets pissed. Oh man, balancing. It's just like real life. But that's it. We're going to be taking submissions up until May 4th, and then that's the closing day. This opens up literally right now, so if you're seeing this video, then go ahead and make something, but you're not going to be able to submit it until tomorrow. We kind of have to sort out the rules. Everything will be taking place on my Discord for my side of things. And for Cone Dodgers, I'm assuming you'll just have to go watch his video. I'll link it in the description so you can see that. It's going to be good though. I'm excited to see what we can come up with here as communities. Let's take them to the cleaners. Let's try and make something really good and absolutely destroy them. That's a little bit mean, but you know what? Sometimes you just gotta be mean to get what you want. Also, I believe there are prizes. Don't quote me on that yet. We'll come back to it. But yeah, there may or may not be prizes for those who are interested in that kind of thing. Not for the winners, but just for participating. So yeah, before we go too far, I just wanted to say thank you to Cone Dodger for coming up with these rules and helping me out with this showcase. It's been a long time coming. I really have wanted to make one of these. I just haven't had any time. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what comes next, and hopefully you guys are interested. So let me know. Group A, it's going to be fun. Definitely check out like 90s and 80s Group A rally cars and try to style it accordingly. I really want your submissions to be high quality. All the low quality submissions I am going to ignore. So just keep that in mind. All right? All right. I see you, everybody. Now that you've watched this video, where is your submission? Dun, dun, dun. You better send it over. I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. And again, I'm just going to do a little bit of a callback. This video is sponsored by FlexiSpot, so check them out if you haven't already. Thank you to them for sponsoring this video. And yeah, I'll be in this chair when I'm driving and testing your stuff. So now this is the stance I will be in when I'm testing your stuff with a new wheel from Camus, which we'll talk about soon, but it's going to be good. It's going to be real good. Boys, this racing might get a little intense, so it's a good thing we got a 30-day return policy on the chair and a 3-year warranty, just in case things get a little hectic. Anyways, see you again soon. Big thanks to everybody who chose to join my Patreon and my YouTube stuff. YouTube memberships after my roll call last week. I still am working on that, but because there's a sponsor this week, I didn't want to shout that out. So I'm still hoping that we can get to 50 by the end of the month, but it is what it is. But I'm excited to say some new names. So nobody knew yet, but we'll get there. We've got Overlord, Jay Pope, Davis Heister, Bob Blast, Goofy Plays, Mancini Country, Shadow Jasper, I Look Valheimilk, and that's just YouTube. Let's go to Patreon. Actually, never mind, there's nobody on Patreon. There was one, and then they got declined by Patreon, so rest in peace. But yeah, thank you everybody. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys again next time.